Okay, good evening, everyone. Everybody sit down. You can get a picture after. Good evening, everyone. My name is Lori Lynn Turner. I'm the Associate Director of the New School Creative Writing Program. It's my true honor to welcome you tonight. This is the Publishing Triangle's 36th year. Woohoo! Yes. And we've been co-hosting this lovely ceremony for 20 plus years. It's been personally my pleasure to work closely with Publishing Triangle for many of those years. Okay, so, sorry, I'm gonna skip something else. I just want to do a few thank yous and then we'll get started. At the New School, I want to thank John Reed, who's the Director of the Creative Writing Program, Dean Mary Watson, Timmy Lewis, Kate Tooley, and Bianca Lomini of our amazing comms team, and our students who are helping out this evening, Anu Pandey, Bronte Haran, and Maria Smid. And with Red Dog Productions, Orifice, and Alvis crew, and the Events IT, Mark and Mike and their team. And at Publishing Triangle, I want to thank particularly Rob Burns, who I work closely with, along with our host for the evening, Emanuel. Yes, Rob. Woohoo! Along with our host for this evening, Emanuel Xavier, and also Brian Berger, and the entire board of Publishing Triangle. And now I'm going to, Emanuel is going to be our host for this evening, and Emanuel is author of several poetry books, including his latest, Lovely, L-Y in parentheses, Child. He's a recipient of a New York City Council Citation and Gay City Impact Award for his many contributions to New York City arts culture. His books have been finalists for the International Latino Books Awards and Lambda Literary Awards, and his work has appeared in Poetry, A Gathering of the Tribes, Best American Poetry, and elsewhere. He's on the board of the Publishing Triangle and will be our host for this evening, opening with his poem, Old Pro, from Lovely Child. Please welcome Emanuel Xavier.
Hello. How's everybody doing? All right. I'm gonna kick it off with this poem from Lovely Child called Old Pro. I wanted to be a poet. I hustled my way into the literary scene much like I had at the Piers. They watched me dare to speak my truth. They said, good for you, talking openly about your experiences as a queer poet of color and being sex positive. They felt what I was doing wasn't poetry. I heard them say I was only popular because I was a whore. I listened to them, gave them permission to use me, let them take pictures of me in my underwear to promote readings. They mispronounced my name and spelled it incorrectly and expected me to show up and perform for them, bring in the crowd. They slut-shamed me into a cage in a small dark room that smelled like piss. I wanted to be a poet. I wanted to escape my past as a prostitute. Maya Angelou had been a sex worker and become a poet. In bed, I wrote poems. I cuddled with cats. I thought what I was sharing was important. I thought what I was doing was significant. I thought poetry was meant for everyone. I made mistakes in my rebellion. I was almost killed. I believed Audre Lorde that my silence would not protect me. I wrote to be more like a Sado saint. I was inspired by homophobic contemporaries who hated me. I did not attend their workshops or teach alongside them in schools. I watched them become famous. I watched a new generation of poets pretend they did everything first. I watched them innovate and influence as I became invisible again. I used my first and middle name to be remembered. My last name belonged to a deadbeat dad. I tried to write about what I knew at a time when they did not care about houses or underground communities. DEI was not an acronym for diversity, equity, and inclusion, more like disenfranchise, exclude, and ignore. I read in front of large audiences and by myself to a phone camera. I thought I would reach my father this way someday. I thought I would meet the love of my life this way someday. Instead, we met the old school way at a seedy bar after marching against racism. He jokingly calls me Emanuel. He can recite the lines of my better-known poems. He loves to tell stories. He knows there is only one M in my first name. We both learned the truth about my father, now know his name, where he lives in Florida. He lets me discuss my past. He lets me find the time to read and write. He is my literary award. I am his laureate. So welcome to the Publishing Triangle Awards. My name is Emanuel Xavier, and I will be your host for the evening. Thank you to the New School for providing us once again with this lovely space for us to gather in celebration of our LGBTQ+ literary community. From censorship attempts to budget cuts, the role of librarians as guardians of knowledge is increasingly under threat. Our drag community is still demonized for entertaining kids with children's books, and attempts to ban our books continue. Our independent presses, which continue to publish many of our authors and books, continue to struggle with limited resources and face distribution challenges. These are just some of the reasons we are here, because we love books that share our unique experiences as a community, and the Publishing Triangle has been celebrating them since 1989. We come from all walks of life and backgrounds: book and magazine writers, editors, agents, marketing, sub-rights, publicity sales, booksellers, designers, librarians, and general book lovers. I opened with my poem, Old Pearl, because whether you are a finalist or a winner tonight, or you have never received any awards or recognition, we must continue sharing our truths for new generations of readers to know how we lived and loved and how we continue to survive and inspire. Just remember, we are all essential. And with that, our first award for the night is the Michele Karlsberg Leadership Award. The Michele Karlsberg Leadership Award recognizes the many contributions of editors, literary agents, and others, including institutions and periodicals, who have worked tirelessly to see that great books reach avid readers. In 2022, this prize was renamed in honor of the publicist and consulate, Michele Karlsberg. Karlsberg was one of the Publishing Triangle's first pair of co-chairs, and she was the founder of the queer publisher Amethyst Press. Her eponymous firm, Michele Karlsberg Marketing and Management, has worked with a bevy of queer authors. Karlsberg won this award herself in 2010. A cash prize was inaugurated with the 2016 award. The winner receives $500. Presenting this award tonight is our very own chair of the Publishing Triangle, Carol Rosenfeld. Carol Rosenfeld is a longtime volunteer chair of the Publishing Triangle. Her debut novel, The One That Got Away, was published by Bywater Books in 2015. Please give a warm welcome to Carol Rosenfeld.
I can think of no better way to introduce our 2024 Michele Karlsberg Leadership Award winner than to quote the woman the award is named for, Michele Karlsberg, and what she had to say about her. Kris Kleindienst's unwavering dedication to the world of literature and social justice is an inspiration to us all. For 5 decades, her commitment to fostering community through the power of books has left an indelible mark on both the literary landscape and the hearts of those she serves. Kris embodies the spirit of resilience, integrity, and compassion, and her legacy at Left Bank Books stands as a testament to her profound impact. Here's to 50 years of enriching minds and empowering voices, a remarkable milestone achieved with grace, passion, and unwavering devotion. Please welcome Kris Kleindienst.
Oh my gosh. So I'm much more familiar with introducing authors than being the thing. Thank you very much, Carol, and thank you, Michele Karlsberg, and thanks to all of the people, the board, and everyone who has made the Publishing Triangle last to its 36th year. That's pretty amazing. I know there are a lot of authors here. I know there are a lot of publishing people here. Are there any booksellers here? Okay, so I'm going to tell you a bookseller story really quick. When I was 16 in 1968, I realized my mother was a lesbian. She repeatedly denied this to me in spite of the fact that her partner lived with us and they shared a bed. Much later, I learned that she was afraid she would lose her children if she had admitted her lesbianism to anyone, including me. I searched her bookshelves for answers and found Oscar Wilde's De Profundis and James Baldwin's Giovanni's Room, which I immediately devoured. These accounts of same-sex love felt bleak to me, but it was hard to find anything that would explain to me what my mother couldn't. The following year, I came out as a lesbian, though my mother continued to avoid any discussion of this. It was the same year as a small bookstore that opened at the end of our block. Even there, I did not find any proof that lesbians existed, let alone led happy lives. When I turned 21, I applied for a job at that bookstore and was hired. I set about immediately to create a gay and lesbian section, which, thanks to the proliferation in the 70s and later in the 80s into the 90s of feminist and queer publishing houses, it was possible. One of my first lesbian customers was a high school girl named Melissa. Melissa came in mostly to talk to me, as she said I was the only person she could be out to. Her parents hated her lesbianism. She was bullied at school. Left Bank Books was a space where she could find herself. Melissa, tragically, did not make it. She took her own life before she finished high school. This had a profound effect on me, clarifying the sense of mission I was muddling towards as a baby dyke bookseller, aspiring writer, and daughter of a closeted lesbian. 50 years later, I own the store. In this time, countless queers have found what are sometimes for them life-saving experiences on our shelves. They can and have met and fallen in love in our stacks. I know I have. Sometimes their parents even come to me for advice on queer positive parenting. In 1993, when Nancy Bariano published Leslie Feinberg's Stone Butch Blues, I organized a 6-city tour in the South and Midwest and personally drove Leslie to all of those communities, cities that were rarely visited on queer author tours, communities where there were nevertheless trans folk being ignored by the rest of their queer families. 2 years ago, I started our nonprofit Literacy and Justice for All project, through which we give away for free mostly queer books that have been banned in area high schools. We've been stocking queer center libraries for years. I simply did not know how to do this work any other way. To be clear, Left Bank Books is a full-line general bookstore, but it will always be imagined and operated through the lens of queer and BIPOC lives. The years have brought many changes to the world of queer writing and publishing and bookselling, not all of them good. The one constant, however, is our irrepressible drive to tell our stories, to celebrate our stories. Without our stories, as you know, we are invisible, even to ourselves. Without our stories, we lose our humanity. Without our stories, the mainstream culture at large is diminished. In fact, it becomes a state-imposed lie. Without independent bookstores, we have no place to discover those stories, and our ability to create community and nurture queer culture shrinks. Booksellers, along with librarians, are vanguard fighters for freedom of expression, which has never in my 50 years of bookselling, and this includes FBI surveillance and police harassment, have been more in peril than now. Off script, in Utah, there's a new queer bookstore called Mosaic, and they are being actively harassed with bomb threats and other forms of harassment. So this is a legacy talk, but it's happening. This isn't history. I am profoundly grateful for this recognition of my work and the work of actually all booksellers. There should never be another story like my mother's. There should never be another story like Melissa's. So I accept this award on behalf of my mother and Melissa. Thank you so much. Keep writing.
Our next award for tonight is the Audre Lorde Award for Lesbian Poetry. The Publishing Triangle established its poetry awards in 2001. Each winner receives $1,000. The Audre Lorde Award honors the American poet, essayist, librarian, and teacher. Lorde was nominated for the National Book Award for From a Land Where Other People Live and was the Poet Laureate of New York State in 1991. She received the Publishing Triangle's Bill Whitehead Award for Lifetime Achievement shortly before her death. Among her 16 other books are Zami and A Burst of Light. Presenting the Audre Lorde Award for Lesbian Poetry tonight will be J.P. Howard. J.P. Howard is a poet, educator, literary activist, curator, and community builder. Her debut poetry collection, Say Mirror, was a Lambda Literary finalist. JP is the inaugural 2024 Maine Writer Studios Writers Retreat resident and was the recent Brooklyn College Tau mentor and resident. She curates Women Writers in Bloom Poetry Salon. Give it up for my lovely sister in poetry, JP Howard.
Thank you, Manny. Welcome everyone who's here in person and who's here online. I just want to bring the words of Audre Lorde into the room. I want to begin with a timeless quote of hers. When we speak, we are afraid our words will not be heard nor welcomed, but when we are silent, we are still afraid. So it is better to speak. So let's keep speaking. The finalists for the Audre Lorde Award for Lesbian Poetry are Four in Hand by Alicia Mountain, published by Boa Editions. Have You Been Long Enough at the Table by Leslie Saines, published by Tin House. I Am the Most Dangerous Thing by Candace Williams, published by Alice James Books. Mother World, a devotional for afterlife by Destiny Hemphill, published by Action Books. And the winner of the Audre Lorde Award for Lesbian Poetry is Have You Been Long Enough at the Table by Leslie Saines, published by Tin House. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Oh no, I really didn't prepare for this. Okay, let me just gather myself for a second. I'm also still very stunned by the speech that Kris just gave, and I keep thinking about Melissa and your mother, so thank you for sharing that story. Thank you so much to the Publishing Triangle and the judges for this prize. The company that my book has kept in this category is amazing. Alicia, Candace, Destiny, your books are out of this world, and I'm humbled to just have the image of my book cover next to yours. I'm so overwhelmed, so I'm just gonna say thank you to a lot of people really quick. Thank you to my dream press, Tin House. I cannot believe my book landed there. Thank you to my editor, Elisa, who I adore to bits, to my fabulous publicist, Becky, who's here tonight, and has not only made my dream opportunities come true, but has also made so many more things that I couldn't even imagine for myself happen. Thank you to Jay, Jackie, Elizabeth, Maisie, and everybody at Tin House for all they've done to support this book. Thank you to my life-giving friends who have made this work possible: Alicia Dietzman, Jan Verberkmos, Josh Kalsher, Marcy Calabretta-Canciobello, and John Taylor. To my partner, Lee, who makes everything possible. And to my cats, Julius and Chowder, who are also queer and, and the best companions possible. Thank you, and from the river to the sea.
Our next award is the Tom Gunn Award, which honors the British poet Tom Gunn, who lived in San Francisco for much of his life. Gunn was the author of The Man with Night Sweats and many other acclaimed volumes. In its first 4 years, this award was known as the Triangle Award for Gay Poetry, and Mr. Gunn himself won the very first such prize in 2001 for his Boss Cupid. Presenting the Tom Gunn Award for Gay Poetry tonight, we have John Keene. John Keene is an American writer, translator, professor, and artist who was named a MacArthur Fellow in 2018. His 2022 poetry collection, Punk's New and Selected Poems, received the National Book Award for Poetry and won the Publishing Triangle's Tom Gunn Award for Gay Poetry. He is Distinguished Professor of English, chairs the African American and African Studies Department, and teaches in the MFA in Creative Writing program at Rutgers University, Newark. Please give it up for John Keene.
There is incredible vitality, vigor, and variety in gay poetry today, and we can see and enjoy it in the books of these very different and profoundly talented poets we honor tonight. All four are deeply committed to poetry as art and as human communication, and their work offers us new, immediate, and numerous reasons to read, particularly to read poetry. The range and breadth of their poetics and their understanding and engagement with the queer voice and lives give voice and life to us all. The finalists for the Tom Gunn Award for Gay Poetry are Pig by Sam Sachs, published by Scribner; Poem, Bitten by a Man, by Brian Tier, published by Nightboat Books; The Boy Who Was Night by Rigoberto Gonzalez, published by Four-Way Books; and Trace Evidence by Sharif Shanahan, published by Tin House. And the winner of the Tom Gunn Award for Gay Poetry is Trace Evidence by Sharif Shanahan, published by Tin House. Yes, Sharif isn't here, so I hand the podium.
I'm not Sharif Shanahan. Sharif is very sorry he couldn't be here tonight. My name is Becky Kramer, and I'm the publicity director for Tin House. Sharif asked me to say a few words in the event that he won. I'm so grateful to the Publishing Triangle for this moving recognition and wish that I could be with you all tonight to share space and celebrate together in community. Much of my work up until now has emerged from the myriad erasures that I've navigated in my early life as the child of a binational mixed race marriage. An erasure so consistent, so complete, it comes from all directions, from all the spaces that my life and heritage touch, including, and perhaps most profoundly, at the root. And so, while my queerness has at times led to some difficulties in certain social environments over the course of my life, it has mostly been my rock, my aspect of self, irrefutably my own, shared in and affirmed by other queer folks, different as we all are, unable to be contested or challenged, which makes this award feel like a new gift on top of an already true and abiding gift. I'd like to offer my deep thanks to all the judges for seeing and believing in Trace Evidence, to the small but mighty team at Tin House for your indefatigable stewardship, to everyone at the Publishing Triangle, and to all the brilliant writers in this room for making your work and gifting it to the world. I salute and commend each of you, all winners to me, and celebrate you tonight and always. Thank you.
Our next award is the Leslie Feinberg Award for Trans and Gender Variant Literature. The Leslie Feinberg Award for Trans and Gender Variant Literature is a prestigious literary honor dedicated to celebrating and promoting the creative works of transgender and gender variant authors. Renamed in memory of Leslie Feinberg, a pioneering activist and author known for Transgender Warriors, Transgender Liberation, a movement whose time has come, Trans Liberation, Beyond Pink or Blue, and the groundbreaking novel Stone Butch Blues. This award recognizes outstanding contributions to the world of literature that explore themes of gender identity, diversity, and the lived experiences of transgender and gender nonconforming individuals. It acknowledges a wide range of literary genres, including fiction, nonfiction, poetry, and more, showcasing the richness and diversity of transgender and gender variant literary talent. This award stands as a beacon of support for authors who strive to break new ground, challenge societal norms, and inspire change through their written words, honoring Leslie Feinberg's legacy of advocacy and creativity. The winner receives a prize of $1,000, and here to present this award is last year's winner, Wo Chan. Wo Chan, who performs as the illustrious Pearl, is a poet and drag artist. They are a winner of the Nightboat Poetry Prize and the author of Togetherness, which won the 2023 Publishing Triangle Award for Trans and Gender Variant Literature, and was also a finalist for the CLMP Firecracker Award. Wo has received fellowships from McDowell, New York Foundation of the Arts, Kundiman, the Asian American Writers Workshop, Poets House, and Lambda Literary. Please give it up for Wo Chan.
Hi, Publishing Triangle. Happy 36 years. Looking better than ever. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Manny and Carol and Robin, everyone involved with the Publishing Triangle, who gave us a reason to come out today and give each other flowers for our work and our talent and our beautiful effort of being here and in community. So, the finalists for the Leslie Feinberg Award for Trans and Gender Variant Literature are Adult Human Male by Oliver Radcliffe, published by Unbound Edition Press. Girlfriends by Emily Zhou, published by Little Puss Press. On Community by Casey Plett, published by Biblioasis. Sinister Wisdom 128, Trans Feminisms. The contributors were Talia Betcher, Marcy Blackman, Claudia Sofia Garriga Lopez, Cecilia Gentili, Chris Gray, Shireen Imayatullah Nadine Rodriguez, Cassidy Scanlon, Catalina Schleibener Munoz, Red Washburn, Fitch Wilder, and Sarah Youngblood Gregory, published by Sinister Wisdom. And the winner of the Leslie Feinberg Award for Trans and Gender Variant Literature is Girlfriends by Emily Zhou.
Hi. I didn't prepare anything, so I just wanted to thank a few people real quick. Firstly, my amazing editors and publishers, Casey Platt and Kat Fitzpatrick are both here tonight. Thank you for recognizing that I am writing a book and that, it can, wow, yeah. And thank you also to my girlfriend, Sarah, who is here, and my ex-girlfriend, Hannah, who is not. Both read tons of early drafts and everything. And yeah, I mean, just if you're trans and you're thinking about writing a book and your thought is oh, my experiences are too particular and too weird, I think you should do it anyway. Thank you.
The Publishing Triangle Torchbearer Award in 2023 the Publishing Triangle began awarding the Publishing Triangle Torchbearer Award, which is presented to a non-publishing entity with a connection to the literary world. The first Torchbearer Award was presented to Drag Story Hour New York City. The recipient of the award receives $1,000. And here to present tonight's special recipient is Reginald Harris. Poet, writer, and literary consultant Reginald Harris has spent 30 years working in libraries from Baltimore, Maryland's Enoch Pratt Free Library to Poets House in New York City. Finalist for Lambda Literary Award, his poetry, fiction, reviews, and articles have appeared in numerous journals and online. He won the 2012 Cave Canem Northwestern University Press Poetry Prize for autogeography. Please help me welcome one of my favorite legendary literary sisters, Reginald Harris.
I was gonna mention the jacket, but from sitting over there, it sparkles. Oh my gosh! Wow. Thank you. Good evening and hello, live streamers. I will not keep you in suspense and mention that this year's award goes to American Library Association President Emily Drabinski. But first, sorry, I will keep you in suspense just a minute. If I may, I'd like to begin with an anecdote. One day in 1995, I was seated at the reference desk at the Enoch Pratt Free Library's Pennsylvania Avenue branch in the heart of inner city Baltimore, Maryland, when I noticed a young adult standing a little bit behind and off to the side of me in our periodicals section. He was holding a paperback and would read a page or two, furtively look around, then turn to another page. I wondered what was up or what he was up to until I got a glimpse of the book's cover. It was Elin Harris's breakthrough Black gay novel, Invisible Life. While sorry that this young person didn't feel comfortable enough to check it out, it was important that we had the book and so many other materials and media for people to explore, learn, and look for answers to questions about themselves and the world, in keeping with ALA's belief in the freedom to read. Censors have disproportionately targeted books by and about women and non-binary writers, authors of color, LGBTQ+, and especially trans issues, as well as efforts to ensure library collections are diverse and inclusive. Under Emily Drabinski's leadership, the American Library Association has stood against them, acting forcefully in the face of the attacks on the organization and personal invective against its president, for which we are all grateful. You're amazing that you can stand up for that crap that they've been giving you. In addition to leading the ALA, Emily Drabinski is an associate professor at the Queens College Graduate School of Library and Information Studies. She publishes and presents widely on topics related to knowledge organization, information literacy, and critical perspectives in librarianship, and edits the Gender and Sexuality in Information Studies series from Library Juice Litwin Press. She has said that knowing members of the ALA elected her to lead as an openly LGBTQ+ person in these times makes her incredibly proud of her community and means that all of us have won. In announcing this year's winner, Carol Rosenfeld, our chair, said Emily Drabinski's leadership of the American Library Association and her fearlessness in standing up for the marginalized in our society are inspiring. She is truly worthy of receiving this award, and it's my great honor to present it to Ellen. Emily. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much to the Publishing Triangle for this great honor. I am so lucky to be an out and proud queer, homosexual, dyke lesbian, and to be able to stand here in front of you tonight with no doubt about who I am or what I believe. I want to say thank you also to Karen. Karen, you are the best thing about being gay for me. The second greatest, yeah, Karen's awesome, and she came out tonight, I love it. The second greatest gift, of course, is reading. For so many of us, we discover who we are through books. We pull them clandestinely off the library shelves and we read them under the covers. We look up the words we suspect we might be in dictionaries, encyclopedias, indexes. We find ourselves in words, sentences, and on pages. And then we get to share who we are. I read Chain Gang All-Stars, did you? I read Hijab Butch Blues, did you? I read Bastard Out of Carolina, did you? I read Trans Feminisms, did you? We read to find out who we are, and we read to find each other. And we do this, if we make the right decision, at the library. Free and open to all, spaces of unfettered access to the stuff of human imagination and the stuff of who we can be. You don't need me to tell you what librarians, authors, readers, and teachers are up against right now, so I want to accept this honor on behalf of my library colleagues. This is for Jonathan in Greenville, South Carolina. These are some of the best people in the world. Mary Graham in Lansing, Michigan. This is for Denise in Spokane, Washington. This is for Danny in Lafayette, Louisiana. Brookie in Boulder, Colorado. This is for Gavin in Kent, Washington. This is for Sherry in Donnelly, Idaho. And this list goes on and on. May all of our stories be told. We are grateful for this recognition from the Publishing Triangle, and we will never give up the fight. Thank you.
Our next award is the Joseph Hansen Award for LGBTQ crime writing. This award recognizes an outstanding work of crime, fiction, or nonfiction. It honors American novelist Joseph Hansen. In his lifetime, Hansen was widely acclaimed. The Los Angeles Times called him the most exciting and effective writer of the classic California private eye novel writing today. In 1992, he received a Lifetime Achievement Award by the Private Eye Writers of America. Hansen won a Lambda Literary Award in the gay mystery category for A Country of Old Men, the 11th book in the Bronze Setter series. The winner receives a prize of $1,000. Tonight, this award will be presented via video by Michael Nava.
Hello, I'm Michael Nava, and it's my privilege to announce this year's recipient of the Joseph Hansen Award for LGBTQ crime writing. I proposed this award to the Publishing Triangle Leadership in 2021, and it was graciously accepted. My purpose was to honor queer crime writers and to memorialize Joseph Hansen. Joseph Hansen was a novelist of both mysteries and non-mysteries, a poet, an activist, a teacher, and an autodidact with a broad and deep knowledge of the Western literary canon. Because he chose to write as an openly gay man in the dark ages before Stonewall, he experienced decades of rejection from the literary establishment. It was not until 1970, when he was 47 years old, that Fade Out, the first of his 12 David Brandstetter mysteries, was published by Henry Holt. In 1970, 49 states had sodomy law, and the American Psychiatric Association still deemed homosexuality a form of mental illness. It was against this background that Joseph Hansen introduced Brandstetter, a death claims investigator for a big insurance company, a cool and competent professional who was also openly and unashamedly homosexual. For a young gay man like myself, reading those books in the 1970s and 80s, was a revelation, a lifeline, and an inspiration, without which I would never have written my own novels. Indeed, every queer writer of crime fiction, whether they know it or not, owes Joseph Hansen a debt of gratitude for blazing the trail for all of us. I know that Joe, who became a friend, would be pleased at the outpouring of queer crime writing that he pioneered, and I hope he would be happy that we honor him with this award. This year's very impressive finalists for the Hansen Award are Beat Nicky's Cafe by Renee James, Amble Press, The Lost Americans by Christopher Boland, HarperCollins, Remain Silent by Robin Geigel, Kensington Publishing Corporation, Transitory by J.M. Redman, Bold Stroke Books, and the recipient of the award is J.M. Redman for Transitory. Congratulations, Judy.
Well, thank you so much. You can see how prepared I am. There are a lot of people I need to thank, but most of them aren't here, so if you don't tell them, they'll never know. I do want to thank my wife, Jillian Roger, who helped me schlep through LaGuardia today. That is a true act of love. We can thank our cats, too, Sazerac, Rye Whiskey, and Absinthe. You know what kind of lesbians we are. But what I really want to thank is all of you here in this auditorium, all of you online, those of you who are not here, the writers, the readers, the poets, the dreamers, the editors, the copy editors, the booksellers, the librarians, because together through the years, through the decades, we have created such a community, so many queer books, they cannot possibly burn them all. Thank you.
How's everybody doing? Awesome. So now for a little entertainment. I don't know who's introducing them, but tonight we have a special performance by Tosos. So please give it up for Tosos.
Good evening. My name is Chris Weichel. I am a playwright, and I am on the board of The Other Side of Silence, or Tosos. In 1974, playwright and activist Doric Wilson, along with Peter Del Valle and cabaret star Billy Blackwell, founded New York City's first LGBTQIA+ theater company. They called it The Other Side of Silence, taking their cue from George Eliot, or Tosos for short. This year, we celebrate Tosos' 50th anniversary. Thank you. Keeping the gay and lesbian literary canon alive and exploring new works for the stage. Tonight, we are going to present to you a piece from Doric Wilson's signature work, Street Theater, which takes place on the eve of the Stonewall riots. This was a piece that is frequently produced by Tosos, and we will be producing it again this year, reviving it for our 50th anniversary in honor of our founder. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce you to the company members tonight who will be showing you this evening's play. So, just to set your mind back to June 27th, 1969. It's a hot evening. We are about to be confronted with two street queens, Seal and Boom Boom, and the proprietor of a less than savory establishment on Christopher Street. So, without further ado, I'm going to give you Chris Anderson as Seal, Michael Michelle Lynch as Boom Boom, and Christopher Borg as Murfino in Doric Wilson's Street Theater.
I have noticed recently a marked deterioration in the standard of faggot on this street.
Tell me about it. Wherever one looks, one sees essential values disappearing faster than the flip.
The times we live in,
They give one pause.
Did you go uptown to the mortuary today?
The memorial service?
I couldn't face it. Me neither.
Judy! I'd rather remember her the way she was.
Yeah, fucked up, not laid out.
They buried her.
Berkeley Cemetery.
Hartsdale, New York.
I sent flowers.
I sent a dozen banners.
How thoughtful.
She meant so much to me.
To all of us.
The guardian angel of the gender misconstrued.
The drag queen's bread and butter.
All is not lost.
Meaning?
She had a son.
So
what better home life to make a faggot?
Faggots aren't made. They're happenstance. That's why the quality's so inconsistent.
Well, he could have carried on the tradition, taught himself to lip sync.
Meaning his hopeful Liza.
Get real.
Hey, my two most favorite customers!
He talking to us?
What are you doing hanging around out here?
Giving the neighborhood a bad name.
The pavement's no place for two classy types like yous.
We're engaged in community outreach for the Junior League.
Your smiling faces are sorely missed at the Stonewall.
You threw us out.
He threw you out.
Somebody slipped something in my drink.
We suspect it might have been alcohol.
Which hardly seems possible, seeing as where we were drinking.
You two crack me up.
The feeling's mutual.
How you fix for cash?
Offering a loan.
You got the price of a drink. I might be willing to let bygones be bygones.
Too bad we can't afford your generosity.
Sure we can.
Seal.
We're rolling in momentary plenty.
You got dough? Oh, come home, all is forgiven.
I'm not warning you again.
Yeah, maybe later.
Yeah, later may be too late.
What's going down?
Lately, we're attracting an early crowd. Very early and very attractive. And they're all asking for you.
If you got a crowd, then what do you want with us?
Are you maligning my magnanimity?
I'm skeptical.
I'm hurt.
I'm thirsty.
I'll see you later. As long as you're early.
Ooh, you hear that, Boom? They're all asking for us.
Fat chance.
You know what we need? We need for you to buy me a drink.
I refuse to pay Murphino a door charge for the privilege of sitting in filth and squalor when I get all I wanted at home for free.
Filth and squalor, my tush.
Precisely.
Oh, one little drinky.
I'll take you to Danny.
Yo, all that corduroy?
The Cherry Lane.
I don't have a penny for my loafers.
Cars.
But they push me there in a wheelchair.
Julius's.
Oh, you gotta be kidding.
Why not?
They don't allow ladies in Julius's.
They can't keep us out.
Tell that to Bruno the bouncer.
We've never tried.
We aren't stupid.
Well, there must be some way.
Who wants to sit around watching a bunch of crew-cut sissies in Letterman's jackets, belch beer, and dish opera?
Some way you and I can get in undetected. I know.
We'd be in mortal danger. Nobody's more lethal than a queen who thinks she's passing.
Give me your eyeliner.
Why?
You'll see.
It isn't exactly Elizabeth Arden.
Oh, come on. With... Oh. An indelible laundry marker?
I cry a lot.
With this, we infiltrate Julius's.
How?
Well, we have to butch it up, right?
Right.
We draw clefts on our chins. Nobody will notice.
I love it.
Hit to me first. Ow! I said cleft, not cleavage.
Sorry, was a habit.
Having fun, ladies?
Depends on what you have in mind.
Vice Squad, NYPD.
Well, let's get
I'm not up to a squat.
All right, come on, let's see your identification.
I must have left it in my other purse. Come on, Theo.
You know I could run you in for impersonating women.
You know women who look like this?
Oh, that's it, Miss Now!
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. We are Tosas. Check them out at Christopher Ward, Michael Michele, and Chris Anderson.
Well, if that didn't take me back to the peers. It was like hanging out with Flotilla and Lady Buddy all over again. Our next award is the Randy Shilts Award, and it honors a journalist whose groundbreaking work on the AIDS epidemic for the San Francisco Chronicle made him a hero to many in the community. Shilts was the author of Mayor of Castro Street and The Band Played On and Conduct Unbecoming. This award recognizes the best nonfiction book of the year by or about gay men, bisexual men, and or trans men, or that has significant influence upon the lives of queer men. Before bringing up our presenter, I just want to note that the Shilts and Grahn Awards have long been funded by the editor Michael Denneny as the executor of the Randy Shilts Trust. Michael was a legendary editor of LGBTQ+ books who we lost a year ago this week. Michael's brother, Joe Denneny, has continued to personally fund these awards in memory of Michael Denneny and Randy Shilts. To present this award tonight, we have Hugh Ryan. That's right. Hugh Ryan is a writer and curator, and most recently the author of The Women's House of Detention, A Queer History of a Forgotten Prison, which won the Israel Fishman Stonewall Book Award from the American Library Association and the biennial William A. Percy Award from the Warren Johannessen Foundation. His first book, When Brooklyn Was Queer, won a 2020 New York City Book Award, was a New York Times Editor's Choice in 2019, and was a finalist for the Randy Shilts Award for Gay Nonfiction and Lambda Literary Awards. He was honored with the 2020 Alan Berube Prize from the American Historical Association. Please help me give a warm welcome to my friend, Hugh Ryan.
We did not plan for our shoes and jacket to match, but I do think it should be appreciated for at least a moment. It's an honor to be here tonight with you all, celebrating queer literature and queer authors, like the 4 incredible nonfiction writers nominated for the Randy Shilts Award: Zachary Zane, Joseph Plaster, Greg Marshall, and Mark T. Jordan. Only one will win, but take it from someone who was nominated and lost. No matter what, you have been inducted into a momentous lineage of queer truth tellers, and for that, we are all winners. It's a terrible time to be a writer, which means we need your truths now more than ever. Queer books are being banned, AI is destroying our jobs, and over 100 journalists have been murdered while covering the siege in Gaza. As Randy Shilts himself once wrote, "Insanity triumphed because sane people were silent." No matter who goes home with this award tonight, I hope all of us continue to speak out and act up. The world needs us. The finalists for the Randy Shilts Award for Gay Nonfiction are Boy Slut, a memoir and manifesto by Zachary Lane, published by Abrams Image, an imprint of Abrams Books. Kids on the Street, Queer Kinship and Religion in San Francisco's Tenderloin by Joseph Plaster, published by Duke University Press. Leg, The Story of a Limb and the Boy Who Grew From It by Greg Marshall, published by Abrams Books. And Queer Callings, Untimely Notes on Names and Desires by Mark D. Jordan, published by Fordham University Press. And the winner of the Randy Shilts Award for Gay Nonfiction is Kids on the Street, Queer Kinship and Religion in San Francisco's Tenderloin by Joseph Plaster.
I did not prepare a single word. Thank you so much to the committee who selected my book. I really greatly appreciate it. My book is based primarily on oral histories with people who are marginalized even in the queer community. So marginally housed youth, people of color, trans women, people who are struggling to make ends meet. So the people I want to thank really are the people who allowed me to record their stories, who trusted me with their stories, and who have collaborated with me to create this book that I hope does justice to their work in the world. So thank you so much to them.
Our next award is the Judy Grahn Award for Lesbian Nonfiction. The Publishing Triangle began giving the Schultz-Grahn Awards for nonfiction in 1987. Each winner receives $1,000. The Judy Grahn Award honors the American writer, cultural theorist, and activist best known for The Common Woman, Another Mother Tongue, and A Simple Revolution. It recognizes the best nonfiction book of the year by or about lesbians, bisexual women, and or trans women, or that has a significant influence upon the lives of queer women. Tonight, this award will be presented by the legendary Judy Grahn herself.
Thank you so much. It's so inspiring to be here. It's just thrilling. What the Judy Grahn Award for Lesbian Nonfiction means, I want to say a few words about. Why did the Triangle Publishing Group install this award in, I think it was 1996? I can only guess. My initial internal response was not gratitude. I was in the middle of a tough few years in morbid disposition, and my first thought, besides astonishment, was, wait, I'm only 56 and they think I'm dead. Now, this is amplified even today by Wikipedia saying the award is in the memory of Judy Grahn. Oh dear, so fortunately, the gratitude came in very soon after that for the honor, and fortunately our movements don't wait until we have died to establish honor. The honor, I believe, is for my history, from picketing the White House for gay rights in 1965 with other folks, and then joining Washington Mattachine to be influenced by the then leader, Frank Kameny. Following his direction, my first real contribution was a critique of psychiatry and its miscomprehension of gay and lesbian lives, nothing of trans lives. The Psychoanalysis of Edward the Dyke was a piece I wrote that has been called since then both feminist and proto-trans. Written on the heels of the McCarthy era, when even the word lesbian needed to be wrapped in brown paper, and Dyke made nice people faint. I went on from there to co-found two pieces of movement in 1969, Gay Women's Liberation, which operated to make women's lives public and fill some of our needs, and to confront patriarchal oppressive institutions, including psychiatry. And secondly, I co-founded the Women's Press Collective to provide some radical literature and start educating us about ourselves and get my own work in print, and gratitude to the people who then established bookstores and editors and everything, librarians, everything that we have seen witnessed here tonight. By 1973, Frank Kameny and Barbara Giddings had confronted the American Psychiatric Association with a panel that included very cleverly an out gay psychiatrist. And the APA changed its diagnosis. So that was that. Meanwhile, I'd begun to research what would become two major works of mine, published by Beacon Press in 1984, as Another Mother Tongue, Gay Words, Gay Worlds, a subjective, sporadic history of LGBT people. I called All of Us Gay, over the world and through time. And now, of course, the vocabulary has greatly expanded. And my second big prose work for me, big for me, was Blood, Bread, and Roses, How Menstruation Created the World, which also has a piece that includes gender variant people, let's say. So my philosophical attempt to put women's work on the map of culture creation. And all of this had been splashing around being influential, and just maybe the Triangle Committee members were also influenced by my poetry collection. We don't know. But for these reasons, I believe the award in my name was so kindly established. The history I represent is long, thick, critical, contentious, and populated with marvelous minds, activists, and courageous writing. The finalists for the Judy Grahn Award for Lesbian Nonfiction of 2024 are Hijab Butch Blues by Lamia H., published by the Dial Press, The Famous Lady Lovers, Black Women and Queer Desire Before Stonewall by Cookie Woolner, published by the University of North Carolina Press, and Suffering Sappho, Lesbian Camp in America by Barbara Jane Brickman, published by Rutgers University Press, and We the Parasites, is that really? Did she say yes? By A.V. Marcini, was that right? Published by Sublunary Editions. And the winner is Suffering Sappho, Lesbian Camp in America by Barbara Jane Brickman. This is a book that, you don't have to go so far away. This is a book that challenges the idea that there was very little or no lesbian public presence, especially not in camp, that camp is witty and critical, a force of critique, and that it's full of humor and courage, that there was no lesbian presence in that art form. And Barbara is saying there was, and so is establishing a new history and filling in the fabric of an old history. So we are history, all of us. I don't mean that in any negative way. History is living, and we are living. We will go forward. We are the history of the future, and nothing stops us. Nothing stops us. Barbara.
Thank you so much. That's a really hard act to follow. I'm incredibly humbled to be standing here with Judy Grahn. I'm gonna try to say something. Obviously, I wanna thank the Publishing Triangle and the judges. This is an incredible honor. I wanna acknowledge the other finalists whose work I ran out, and I've read all of them. It's just wonderful company. I do want to recognize Rutgers University Press, particularly my editor, Nicole Solano. They supported me. I wrote this book during the pandemic, and it was not easy, so I appreciate that. My biggest thanks go to my beloveds, Lucy, Henry, and Maisie at home in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, which is not the easiest place to live in right now. Well, we're going to call it something else. There are certain words we can't use in Alabama anymore. They gave me space to go down into the basement and write this thing. And my family, my siblings as well. This award, I found out reading Wikipedia that Judy Grahn and my mom were born in the same year. And my mom passed away this year. And so this award is for my mom because she was so camp. She wasn't a lesbian camp, but she was so camp. So I just want to honor her as well as an amazing person that my name is attached to now. So thank you.
How's everyone? We're almost there. The Jacqueline Woodson Award for LGBTQ+ children's YA literature is a prestigious literary honor that celebrates outstanding works of literature geared towards children and young adults that explore themes related to LGBTQ+ experiences, identities, and issues. Jacqueline Woodson is the author of more than 30 books for young people and adults, including Another Brooklyn, Red at the Bone, and The Day You Begin. Her New York Times bestselling memoir, Brown Girl Dreaming, won the National Book Award, the Coretta Scott King Award, a Newbery Award, and the NAACP Image Award. Each year, the Jacqueline Woodson Award for LGBTQ+ children's YA literature will seek to highlight books that effectively address LGBTQ+ topics in an age-appropriate and sensitive manner, helping young readers better comprehend the diversity of human identities and relationships. These books may cover a wide range of subjects, from coming out stories to LGBTQ+ historical narratives, from queer romances to explorations of gender identity and non-binary experiences. This award serves as an essential platform for acknowledging authors, illustrators, and publishers who contribute to the enrichment of children's and young adult literature by promoting diversity and representation within its pages. The winner receives the prize of $1,000. Presenting this award tonight via video is Jacqueline Woodson.
Hey everyone, it's me, Jacqueline Woodson, coming to you live from my daughter's apartment here in Washington, D.C. She's about to graduate from Howard University, HU, you know, and so I'm here helping her get through it. And I would love to be there with y'all. I would love to be celebrating the Publishing Triangle's Jacqueline Woodson Award, which is so kind of surreal to me because I am still alive, thankfully, and it's kind of amazing and kind of surreal to have an award named for yourself when you're still walking and breathing, but it also makes me feel really proud and happy, and I'm so grateful to the writers who are writing the books for our young people, and these are books for all people. Speaking to our young people, speaking to all of us. And I am grateful that y'all are all out there fighting, doing the work that our queer community needs to have done, fighting for the right to read these books, fighting against all of the laws that are coming along saying these books are not worthy. We know who we are, we know what our books can do, and I'm grateful to you for doing that. I am also aware of what kind of peril children's literature is in right now. So please, 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 all of you, all of us, let's keep being the beloved agitators that we've always been and fight this good fight. And with that said, I want to announce our finalist and our winner of this first Publishing Triangle Jacqueline Woodson Award. Blackword by Lawrence Lindell, drawn and quarterly. Dragging Mason County by Curtis Campbell, Anik Press or Anik Press, so sorry. You know who you are, you know you're fabulous, Anik Press. Salma Writes a Book by Danny Ramadan, Anik Press. The Other Woods by Jason Pusella Winans, Bloomsbury Children's Books. And the winner is Salma Writes a Book by Danny Ramadan, Anik Press. Congratulations, Danny. Congratulations, Anik Press. Congratulations to all of you, all of us. Let's keep doing the good work. And inshallah, I'll see you next year at the Publishing Triangle Awards. In the meantime, stay safe, keep reading, keep writing. Bye.
I don't know if our recipient is here. So we're going to move on. But congratulations. So our next award is the Betty Berzon Emerging Writer Award. Had to change that slide. And again, I said it last year, I love her in this picture. I want to have a drink with her. The Betty Berzon Emerging Writer Award is an annual literary award presented by the Publishing Triangle to honor achievement by an emerging LGBTQ writer. The 1500 prize is presented to a writer who has shown exceptional talent and the promise of continued literary success and significance in the future. Here to present this award tonight, we have Teresa DeCrescenzo.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I asked my wife, what should I say about Betty? Not that I don't know Betty, but there's so much to say about her and in relation to this award. And Carol said, well, just tell them what she went through. So, well, how many hours do you have for that? The last time, not here, but I overstayed my welcome at a podium, someone said to me, in the future, when you're invited to speak, be brief, be funny, and be seated. So how to briefly, I don't know about the funny part. I guess the only funny part is I had on a seersucker suit earlier today, and the dog sitter said, you look like the Fuller Brush salesman. So I thought, okay, ha-ha, and changed to dark. So I know, I keep my day job. So, you know, if you want to know about Betty Berzon, who followed in the footsteps of her dear friends, Barbara Giddings and Frank Kemeny, dogging the APA, big APA, American Psychiatric, little APA, American Psychological Association, co-founded the LA LGBT Center, which this year has a $60 million a year budget, the National Gay Academic Union. In 1979, she was the national chairwoman of the Homosexual Marriage Committee, if you can believe that, 1979. And on and on and on, but who was she? She was the Betty Berzon who left Stanford University in disgrace because she kissed a girl and the girl said, I'm gonna tell everybody you're a lesbo. And so she left. The kids at Stanford laughed when she told that. They said, what? You would leave Stanford because you're gay? But yeah, that was then. She destroyed her brilliantly successful avant-garde bookstore where she had Dame Edith Sitwell and Jamie Herlihy and Leslie Caron, just an endless list. She became the person who, when she was on her second or third recurrence of the cancer, and we were at Cedars-Sinai Hospital, she refused to fill out the admission form that said straight, gay or married. She said neither. And they said, well, we can't complete the form unless you answer that. And she said, then I guess we'll wait. And they finally sent the vice president of the hospital down, and Cedars-Sinai changed that form, and the state of California codified it into law. That's what she did. But she was also that Betty Berzon who, on her second suicide attempt, found a wonderful psychiatrist by the name of Fred Feldman, who promised her she did not have to be a homosexual. He said, he hospitalized her and he said, I will take care of it. You will not be a homosexual, I promise you. As a sidebar, I don't read like People magazine and all these gossipy things, but I saw a story about Ricky Martin and his husband in Beverly Hills, and I thought, well, I wonder what that's about. Ricky Martin, according to People magazine, and his husband live in famed psychoanalyst Fred Feldman's house in Beverly Hills. Rare. How about that? I bet Fred Feldman wouldn't appreciate that, but there you have it. And Betty loved to mentor writers. It was what it was all about. And so I ask, when you write for all those little Betty Berzons who had to go through what she had to go through to become who she became. And Hilary Zaid is such a writer. When I read the first chapter, the letter that didn't get mailed, of her current book, I thought, am I going to stand up in front of all these writers and writing aficionados and say, she has a way with words? But I got to tell you, she's got an exquisite way with words. So please. And I learned a new word, bricolade. I never heard bricolade before, but now I know what it means. Thank you, Hilary. So I'm delighted to present the Betty Berzon Award to Hilary Zaid. I know she's here somewhere. No? Yes? I think so. Here she comes. Never let someone get to the stage with the applause gone, so do it again. Well done.
Thank you all. If I look familiar, it's probably because I wore this outfit to my son's bar mitzvah in 2013. I thought I was getting the award for creative reuse. Thank you so much to the Publishing Triangle for honoring me tonight. Often as writers, we struggle forward, imagining the right publication or review or award will make our name. But I'm heartened as I approach this moment to find that recognition can instead involve the gathering of other names, a gathering of ancestors. A year ago, my second novel was honored with the name of Nebraska's beloved professor, Barbara D. Bernard, longtime director of the Women's Studies program and co-founder of the LGBTQ minor at University of Nebraska, Lincoln. And tonight, I am blessed to honor the memory of Jewish lesbian writer and activist Betty Berzon, whose work to depathologize homosexuality has materially affected my life and the lives of so many of us here tonight. I wish that Betty, like too many friends and loved ones lost to female reproductive cancers, could be here herself. But I hope to honor her name through my work and to extend her legacy. Thank you, Teresa, for giving me that opportunity. I couldn't be here tonight without the support of the editors who believed in my work enough to publish it. Salem West, editor of the lesbian feminist press Bywater Books, and Timothy Schaffert and S.J. Sindhu, editors of Nebraska's Zero Street Fiction series, the first LGBTQ fiction trade imprint of a university press. Even now that more queer writers are finding homes in traditional publishing, I can say from experience, these projects are necessary. I'm glad to count Salem, Timothy, and Sindhu as supporters and friends. We're lucky to have the next writer in the series here with us, Eric Schnall. Keep an eye out for his debut, 13 Days. I couldn't be here tonight without the, many thanks to the friends who are here to celebrate with me from so many times and places in my life. It's like my own little Eras tour back there. My brilliant audiobook narrator, Meg Persichetti, is here. There's currently no literary agent in that group, but maybe that's the next era. Although they couldn't be here tonight, I must thank my family, my spouse, Lauren, and our two wonderful sons. Lauren is my first and best reader. Our eldest son feeds me delicious meals, and my youngest son is my most recent cover designer. A collaboration that brings me endless joy. And as Mary Oliver said, joy is not meant to be a crumb. At this moment in the history of the world, especially, we live in public. And I think sometimes if we aren't recognized in a public way, which is nice, we can feel invisible. To all of us here tonight who are invested in gay life, which for much of the history of the world has been invisible, and to all of us here who have invested ourselves in the literary arts, and especially to those who have waited for lists of awards and honors and sometimes felt invisible and disappointed, I want to offer this observation from my narrator, aspiring artist Amy Black. Not everyone is meant to live in public, but if we're lucky, if we stay at our private labors long enough, if we work at the thing we love only for the thing itself, we may finally be seen for who we are. Thank you.
Our next award will be presented by Christopher Bram, and it's the Edmund White Award for Debut Fiction. Christopher Bram is the author of 12 books, including the novel that became the movie Gods and Monsters. He was the winner of the Bill Whitehead Award and teaches at the Gallatin School of New York University. Please give it up for one of the nicest writers in our literary community, Mr. Christopher Bram.
Thank you, Manny. It's a real honor. It's a pleasure to be here. This is like this celebration of book people, and not just writers, but editors, publishers, agents, and best of all, booksellers and librarians. That was just, it makes me so happy to be with you tonight. Okay, I'm here to present the finalists for the Edmund White Award for Debut Fiction. And the finalists are After Sappho by Selby Wynne Schwartz, published by Liveright. And Then He Sang a Lullaby by Annie Coed Samjoku, published by Grove Atlantic. Churn, a Novel in Stories by Chloe Chun Syme, published by Texas Review Press and the University Press of Houston, Sam Houston State University. Our Hideous Progeny by C.E. McGill, published by HarperCollins. And the winner of the Edmund White Award for Debut Fiction is And Then He Sang a Lullaby by Annie Coed Samjoku.
Hi, I'm Amy Hundley. I'm from Grove Atlantic, and Coyote is in East Anglia in the UK, so he can't be here in person. But I think he would want to say, in some ways, thank you to Ed White for doing everything that he has done for gay literature for decades, and to Roxane Gay, the founder of Roxane Gay Books, which is the imprint at Grove Atlantic that has published him, to Emma Shurcliffe of Laxfield Literary, who is his agent, and to the Publishing Triangle for recognizing a book by a 20-something Nigerian who wrote the first draft of it on his phone, and has brought this beautiful, beautiful love story of two young men, one closeted and one not, during the run-up to the passage of the same-sex marriage prohibition in Nigeria, to a global audience. Thank you so much.
Our next award is the Farrell Grumley Award for LGBTQ fiction, which will be presented by Stephen Greco. Stephen Greco is editor-at-large of Upstate Diary magazine and author of the books Now and Yesterday and Such Good Friends. He co-founded the Farrell Grumley Award in 1988 with George Stambolian and Alan Barnett. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Stephen Greco.
Thank you, Manny. We've been awarding the Farrell Grumley for 36 years, each year with a different panel of judges, and every year with a larger and more interesting and more diverse range of submissions. This year's crop, the largest ever, knocked us out with its variety of vision, imagination, and sheer literary skill. Our 5 finalists represent not just good writing, but 5 different kinds of challenge. That's important to our judging. Our criteria have always been, is it good enough? Is it LGBTQ+ enough? Is it important enough, not just to our own audiences, but to the culture at large? This year, the judges talked a lot about how the momentum of challenge can help us rethink these criteria year after year as our culture evolves. And here are the 5 finalists they selected. Chain Gang, excuse me. Chain Gang All-Stars by Nana Kwame Ajay Brenya, published by Penguin Random House. Dandelion Daughter by Gabrielle Boulian Tremblay, translated by Eli Tarek El-Beshelani Lynch, published by Esplanade Books. Pomegranate by Helen Elaine Lee, published by Atria Books. Wound by Oksana Vasyakina, or Vasyakina, I think, translated by Alina Alter, published by Catapult Books. Translated by Alina Alter, published by Catapult Books. Girlfriends by Emily Zhao, published by Little Puss Press. Each of these works pushes forward the definition of excellence and relevance in fiction, and we celebrate all of them. A gripping, powerful novel of healing, redemption, and love, this year's Farrell Grumley winner follows a queer Black woman who works to stay clean, pull her life together, and heal after being released from prison. The novel's author grew up in Detroit, went to Harvard College, and Harvard Law School, and is now professor of comparative media studies and writing at MIT. Her first novel, The Serpent's Gift, was praised by the Washington Post's book world as beautifully crafted and profoundly insightful. Her second novel, Watermarked, was called Luminous by the New York Times Book Review. And so for Pomegranate, a 2024 Farrell Grumley Award goes to Helen Elaine Lee.
Wow, thank you. I'm filled with gratitude for being honored by my people, for standing alongside so many wonderful writers, and also because here with me tonight are my editor, Michelle Herrera Mulligan, and my dear friend and sister, Misty DeBerry. So in Pomegranate, my protagonist, Renita, is getting out of prison after a 4-year bid for opiate possession and trying to stay clean, get back custody of her kids from the aunties who've been raising them, own her love for a woman, Maxine, who's still on the inside, and own her queerness. Renita and Maxine's love is about neither domination nor oblivion. Its foundation is a shared Black feminist liberatory politics and warriorship, an exchange of the head and heart, mutual respect, generosity, constructive defiance of the limitations imposed by state authority on their bodies, minds, and spirits, and commitment to the power of imagination, to asking what if. Their love story is a counter-narrative in the fullest sense. Well, these are dark times in this country and the world over for freedom and for autonomy, bodily, psychic, spiritual, political. With whatever means we have, we're called upon to be warriors, working together, raising our voices, crafting our counter-narratives, reimagining the world and ourselves, to resist the authoritarian forces of domination and control in the form of white supremacy, misogyny, homophobia, transphobia, economic exclusion, and exploitation, as they're all interconnected. We must resist with our very humanity, with our bodies, with our stories, with our love. Thank you.
Thank you to all that we have lost for everything that you contributed to our community. Our next award is the Bill Whitehead Award, which is given in celebration of a lifetime of work and commitment to fostering queer culture. And before introducing our presenter, we have a video message from Johannessen.
As I said to David Groff not long ago, the problem with Lifetime Achievement Awards is that the people who get them are old, and so are many of the people who know them and love them. Health issues have prevented Dorothy Allison from being here in person tonight to accept the Bill Whitehead Award. And health issues have prevented me from being here in person to introduce her. But we are both with you in spirit, also known as live streaming. I first met Dorothy when her late great agent Francis Golden was seeking a publisher for a novel called Bastard Out of Carolina. I read the manuscript and fell in love with it, and immediately made what I thought was a good offer. But my estimable colleague, Carole DeSanti, had the wit and foresight to put a floor down on her offer, which meant she could top me, and did. So I didn't acquire Bastard, but I did acquire a lifelong friend and source of inspiration in Dorothy, and also had the great privilege of working with her on her manuscript a bit on an informal basis. Dorothy would be the first to say that she couldn't have accomplished half of what she's accomplished without the love and support of her partner in crime, her partner in life, her wife, Alex Lehman, who died a year and a half ago after a courageous battle with cancer. I first met Alex after a reading of Dorothy's, and we went to a diner. At the time, Alex was in full leather and a mohawk, and she ordered steak and eggs And when it came, she sent the steak knife back and pulled out her own knife, possibly a switchblade or a Bowie knife, but in any case, a serious knife. That was Alex, always prepared, always glorious, even as she couldn't quite best that final illness. Alex should be with us tonight. Frances Golden should be with us tonight. Bill Whitehead should be with us tonight, as should so many others. I'm not going to talk trash, even about the women who hate me. No skin off my nose. Only a cave dweller could fail to see the significance of this award, so I just want to say 2 or 3 things I know for sure. 1, Dorothy Allison is a great writer, and I applaud the Publishing Triangle for confirming that with the Whitehead Award. 2, Dorothy Allison is a gifted and tireless teacher who by now has nurtured a couple of generations of writers of all stripes to their eternal gratitude and ours. 3, Dorothy Allison is a force of nature who produced an earthquake in publishing some 30 years ago. All sorrows can be born if you tell a story about them, said the Danish writer Isaac Dinesen. Through the sheer force of her storytelling, Dorothy Allison taught us how to bear our sorrows. And along the way, she gave us the manifold joys of poetry and essays, brimming with rage and beauty and grit and wisdom, and novels brimming with characters so vivid and so beautifully drawn that there is nothing for readers to do but care about them. A great writer, a great teacher, a great friend. What more could we ask of anyone? Dorothy says she doesn't like brouhaha, but I encourage you all to brouhaha the roof off right now in celebration of her life and work. Thank you.
I feel like the Wizard of Oz coming out from back there, or the Wiz, Eloise. So it's just appropriate that this next award goes to a Dorothy. And tonight, to present that award, we have Carole DeSanti, who is a writer, editor, teacher, and a founding member of the Publishing Triangle. As a longtime vice president and executive editor of Viking Penguin, Carole was known for her commitment to women writers, LGBTQ writers, and other marginalized voices and points of view. For this pioneering work, she received the Triangle's Leadership Award in 2009. Her first novel, The Unruly Passions of Eugenie R., was a New York Times Editor's Choice selection. Most recently, she has been the Elizabeth Drew Professor of English Language and Literature at Smith College. She's working on a second novel, Plunder, about the 18th century pirates Anne Bonny and Mary Read. Please help me give a warm welcome to Carole DeSanti.
Wow, it's great to be here, back in the triangle energy, isn't it? It's just amazing. God, there's so much to be said about Dorothy Allison that even 2 of us introducing this award can't do it justice, but thank you so much to Joy for highlighting so much that's important. I think in this case, the Lifetime Achievement Award should actually be called the Lifetimes Achievement Award, because Dorothy has certainly lived multiple lives. There was her coming of age in Greenville, South Carolina, amidst violence, trauma, and abuse, and beauty, and courage, and all the people of that world that she's written about with such nuance and complexity. There was her lifetime dedicated to recovery and resilience, interwoven with her work as a political activist and feminist, and then the years as a celebrated author, appearing all over the world on behalf of her work. But there was also the life of building that author's life, because this didn't just happen. It didn't come by way of a wealth of social connections or wealth of any kind, except grit, and need and the desire to bring forward all that she is. There's Dorothy's life as a teacher, mentor, and a guiding force in her communities, and these too are many. Southern writers and readers, those finding inspiration and hope in her mirrors of working class lives, the world of survivors of sexual abuse and violence, the LGBTQ+ community and our friends, allies, and families, students and teachers. Dorothy's essays on writing are nothing short of amazing, and I know because I've now taught them. These are just the lives I know about. What's always struck me about Dorothy is her ability to fully engage with every person her life touches. I've been at publishing events where she is as much at home joking with the catering staff and the assistants as she is chatting with luminaries and bosses. That's because she's always known how power operates, who it favors, and what and who it ignores. I first encountered Dorothy's work when I was a young editor at Dutton in the late 1980s. Bill Whitehead was the hurricane force on one end of the hall, pioneering gay literature with Edmund White and the other writers on his list. The opposite end of the hall was, shall we say, more traditional and genteel. And Bill Whitehead was an opinionated hurricane. When, as a lowly assistant, I told him that I hoped Dutton would publish lesbian authors to complement his list of mostly gay men, he was cool to the idea. Because, as he put it, it's going to be hard to find quality material. Bill was enormously inspiring. He was very, very influential, but as much as he saw and did and published, he didn't hear every voice. None of us can. When I spoke to two colleagues about how the publishing industry felt in the 80s, one gay man spoke of it as a renaissance, a time of opening and inclusion. The lesbian spoke of being afraid to lose her job if she breathed a word about who she was, much less what she might like to read. I saw that we were going to have to be bolder. Reading those first pages of Bastard Out of Carolina when it came in on submission, the sweat and grief and sheer focused intention there told me everything I needed to know. This writing was raw and tough-minded and meant to be. Its title alone raised defiant spirits and claimed its own ground. But the places and the people Dorothy was writing about were invisible to the cultural elite. It was a world of those who never had, never got, and never would get. And that included having a public voice or a voice at all. In the stories Dorothy tells, she picks the lock of power relations. She gives us a way to hold that world and to understand it. And she gives us the courage of the writer she made herself, one able to witness, to testify, to hold perpetrators responsible, and ultimately to forgive, and to forgive with a purpose, that is, to create. I celebrated on the day we signed our contract with Dorothy in August of 1989. On Halloween of that year, just 2 months later, the entire staff at Dutton, top to bottom, was fired. It took 3 years for Bastard to be published by its new corporate parent. There was little fanfare, no marketing or publicity budget, but Dorothy's scrappy audience of activists, feminists, lesbians, and friends, in other words, many of us, saw the potential and power of that book. Then came the front page rave in the New York Times Book Review, back when that could really make things happen. And a few months later, the National Book Award nomination. Dorothy Allison became a publishing phenomenon. With the publication of Cave Dweller came all the trappings of bestsellerdom, advanced positioning in bookstores and with the review media, advertising and promotion, and adoring fans. I remember being at the Maui Writers Conference when Dorothy was a featured speaker. Hopeful writers were so in awe of her that they followed her around wherever she went, and one even had the audacity to slip a manuscript underneath the door of Dorothy's bathroom stall in the hopes of catching her attention at a captive moment. We don't know from one day to the next whether a writer will survive her writer's life, even if she makes it appear possible. All that magic and hope must be constantly tended and nourished to thrive, and it takes a lot more than publishers and editors and contracts and even the world's acclaim and expectation. Dorothy and I had an argument that went on over the years. Is it possible to be crazy enough to write, but stay sane enough to live? I insisted that we had to do both, that both are possible. And Dorothy would say in that honey-soaked drawl of hers, "Honey, it's probably not." All of us who have been privileged to know and work with Dorothy Allison feel fortunate indeed. And it's my great honor to join in announcing the Bill Whitehead Award for Lifetime Achievement to her today.
Hello from California. I'm very sorry that I can't be there with you. I'm also sorry that my voice is a little funny, but it's been a challenging stage in my life. But it's a wonderful thing to be told that the work to which you have given your whole life has found an audience that not only understands the difficulties inherent in transforming life into story, it is a wonderful thing to feel among others who do the same work, a community that understands what you want to accomplish. Story is how I understand life. Stories told to us when we are children, stories we accumulate as we become grown-ups, stories that dog us, wake us in the night, get us out of bed in the morning, send us through the day, sometimes angry, sometimes deeply, deeply satisfied. Today is one of those days in which I feel some measure of satisfaction. But I have to tell you, I am not the kind of person who steps easily into satisfaction. I've always been slightly pissed off and desperately, stubbornly ambitious. Not so much ambitious for accomplishment as ambitious to be part of a community that can make genuine change in the world, the community to which I have given my life. I am that terrified, resentful child dodging my stepfather's angry hands. I am the one grinding my teeth at wearing my cousin's hand-me-downs. I am the one who watched her mama give home permanents to neighbor ladies just to get a few dollars to buy shoes or blue jeans or, God save us, the paperback novels to which we were completely devoted. I would listen to my stepfather shatter Coke bottles on rocks, knowing what he really wanted to break was my head, my spirit, my soul. The way the world wanted to break us. Those of us born poor or different or despised for any of the many, many reasons we hold each other in contempt. I was that angry, desperate child trying to figure out how to survive. I learned to survive in story. Terrible stories I could tell my cousins, scare the bejesus out of them, send them away from me or draw them closer. Story was how, in fact, I could control what was happening around me. Oh, it wasn't money. It wasn't muscle, except that it was all that and more. Story is muscle. Story is how we teach each other, reach each other, touch each other. Story is how I could predict and claim that we were not merely workhorses, that we were more than desperate souls surmounting violence, contempt, and grief. The people I love seemed to me sensitive, hardworking, and desperate to live fully, to love across definitions of gender, age, and personal identification. But my people, my cousins, my lovers, my cultural heroes, We know who we are. We know what we risk. Story, it seemed to me, was a way out. Story was a way to remake everything that happened. Story was a way to not explain. No, not explain. Story was a way to glorify, to reach, to touch people who could not even bear to look at us. I was taught to hate myself, to hold my desires contemptible, my fears absurd. Everything I desired or hoped to experience was somehow shameful. And when I would look at other little girls like me, I could see myself, but I could also see what the world thought us. I could hear that voice always in my head. You want to do what? You want to do what with who? How can you stand yourself? Day by day, breath by breath, embrace by embrace, her hand on my neck, my mouth tasting her skin, the sweet sweep of her tongue along my earlobe, her hip bone pressed against my thigh, right up to where my belly clenched, to where my lungs were pulling her scent deep into me. Oh, she was heat and hope and meaning and courage. I celebrate her with every breath I take, every flash of her eyes, the pure, satisfying laugh she could give, the strength in her hands, the reach in her arms, the soul we shared. I could slip up her hip and know myself human in a world that pretended we were purely animal. I know who I am. I know what survives even when I find myself alone to remake my life. I am the reflection of every glance she ever turned in my direction. I am every assessment she made of the extent of my courage, the power of my desire. I could reflect back to her the heat of her desire. No matter meanness in the world, no matter the bitterness of those who hold us in contempt, or the denial and cold-eyed dismissal of our love, our tenderness, our hopes, no matter any of that. We are not what they name us. We are neither hateful nor contemptible. We are brave and full of love. That most meaningful act of the human, the ability to look into another's eyes and see the reflection of our own souls. That is what we share. We remake ourselves and those we treasure in story, in our revolutionary transgression, in tale, in story, in lyric, in reaching past our isolated human bodies to the essential soul connection. We live in the tribe, the story of the tribe, the lyrics, the meter, the song that does not end. In story, we share, and those who have not yet crafted yet, we share them. We live forever. We may be animal. We may have animal impulse, but we are spiritual as well. We are never alone. In lyric, in epic tale, in stubborn retelling of what happened or did not happen, but by God should have happened, or still might. We live past ourselves and those we have lost, but can never lose. I am she who she loved, more than my stepfather named me, greater than the weight of my bones without my soul, greater even the soul that shaped around my infinite desire, my fear, my hope. I have been foolish, fearful, stubborn, and determined. I am 75 years old. I know the value of my female soul, my lesbian desire, and the intensity of naming as human what the world disdains as animal, lesser, contemptible. Hear me, understand me. Story can be a way out, a hand in the dark, a whisper of hope, the hope I have for all of us. This is what I can give you. Story, lyric, spirit, the courage to say what I know to be true. We are the hope of the world. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back the chair of the Publishing Triangle, Carol Rosenfeld.
Well, I would say I never want to follow Dorothy Allison, but I'm here actually because I want to make an announcement that I'm very excited about. Next year, the Publishing Triangle is going to add another award to our roster, the Amber Hollibaugh Award for Social Justice Writing. This award will recognize a nonfiction book that addresses the issues that were so important to Hollibaugh, such as economic injustice, with a special focus on queer kids and adults who are out on the street doing sex work. Anyone who writes about such topics well, especially from their own experience, will merit consideration for the award, which carries a prize of $1,000. Just noting that Amber Hollibaugh won the Judy Grahn Award for Lesbian Nonfiction in 2001 for her book, My Dangerous Desires, A Queer Girl Dreaming Her Way Home. And I also just want to say a few quick thank yous. First, we thank our judges, without whom these awards would not be possible. We thank the New School, especially our longtime collaborator, Lori Lynn Turner. And I wish to acknowledge the Publishing Triangle Board, who have done so much to bring new energy and ideas to the Publishing Triangle. I also want to acknowledge Emanuel Xavier for the great job he's done tonight, and Rob Burns for all his efforts in putting this together. So let's go celebrate. I feel like we have a lot to celebrate, and hopefully you'll be with us next year. Thank you.
And that's it. So please, winners, please come over to our new Step and Repeat so you can have a great photograph for the press. And everybody else, please join us downstairs for a reception. There's food and drinks, and it's time to celebrate. So let the music play.